Somewhere in the ocean right now, there's a jellyfish that scientists believe can biologically reverse its own aging. It doesn't die of old age, it just starts over, like hitting rewind on a VHS tape. And here's the question that should be keeping you up at night. If nature already figured out how to do that, why haven't we? For thousands of years, humans have been obsessed with immortality. Ancient Egyptians built tombs that could last forever, hoping their souls would too. Chinese emperors drank mercury, actual poison, because alchemists told them it would grant eternal life. Spoiler, it did not. But here's where things get interesting. In the last 50 years, scientists haven't just been dreaming about immortality, they've been reverse engineering it. And what they've found inside your own cells is genuinely strange. Because the real question isn't, can we live forever? The real question is, why are we programmed to die in the first place? That's not a philosophical question, it's a biological one. And the answer changes everything you think you know about aging. Let's start with something called a telomere. Think of your DNA as a shoelace. And at the tip of every shoelace, there's a little plastic cap that keeps it from fraying. That cap is your telomere. Every single time a cell divides, and your cells are dividing right now constantly to replace old ones, that cap gets a tiny bit shorter. After decades of this, the cap disappears entirely. The shoelace starts fraying, the cell can no longer divide properly, it either dies, or worse, it becomes what scientists call a zombie cell, a senescent cell, that lingers around, pumping out inflammatory chemicals, essentially poisoning its neighbors. Multiply that by billions of cells across decades, and you get what we call aging. But here's where it gets strange. Your body already has a tool that can rebuild telomeres. It's called telomerase, an enzyme that essentially recaps the shoelace. And almost every cell in your body has the genetic instructions to make it. So why don't they? Because telomerase has a dark side. Cells that produce it without limits can divide forever. And cells that divide forever have a name: cancer. Your body literally switches off immortality to protect you from tumors. Aging, in a very real sense, is a trade-off, a negotiated compromise between not dying young and not dying of cancer. Evolution didn't care whether you lived to 90, it only cared that you survived long enough to reproduce. But wait, remember that jellyfish, the one that cheats death? Turritopsis dohrnii, the so-called immortal jellyfish, does something almost impossible. When it's stressed or injured, it can revert its cells all the way back to their earliest state, essentially becoming young again. It's called transdifferentiation. Scientists didn't believe it was real until they saw it in a lab. It's not immortal in the Hollywood sense. It can still be eaten. It can still get sick, but its cells don't age in the way ours do. And scientists are still figuring out exactly how. Here's another twist. There's a naked mole rat, arguably the most unattractive rodent in existence, that lives for over 30 years. A mouse its size lives for 3. The naked mole rat almost never gets cancer. Its cells handle protein damage differently. It doesn't seem to feel the effects of low oxygen. It's physiologically bizarre in almost every way. And then there's a species of clam called the ocean quahog, which can live for over 500 years. 500 years. Scientists found one they estimated was 507 years old. They named it Ming, after the Chinese dynasty that was ruling when it was born. They only figured out its age after they accidentally killed it while studying it, which is honestly a bit tragic. The point is, nature has found multiple different solutions to the aging problem, which means aging isn't some universal law of the universe. It's a design choice, a biological strategy, one that evolution landed on but didn't have to. So, can we change it? Here's where modern science gets genuinely exciting. Researchers have actually reversed aging in mice, not slowed it, reversed it. A 2023 study from Harvard showed that by resetting certain chemical markers on DNA, called epigenetic markers, scientists could make old mice functionally younger. Their vision improved, their muscle mass came back, their organs started behaving like younger organs. These markers aren't changes to your DNA sequence itself. They're more like the software running on top of the hardware, and apparently the software can be rebooted. There's also a protein called GDF11 that seems to have rejuvenating effects. When old mice were given transfusions of blood from young mice, their brains, muscles, and hearts started to recover. Something in young blood was actively reversing the clock. And then there's rapamycin, a drug originally developed to prevent organ transplant rejection, which has extended the lifespan of mice by up to 25%, even when given late in life. Human trials are underway. Scientists like David Sinclair at Harvard argue that aging itself should be classified as a disease, not an inevitable process in a medical condition, one that might be treated. But here's the honest part. We're not there yet. Human biology is vastly more complex. We don't fully understand the long-term consequences of overriding the systems that evolved to protect us. Extending lifespan without extending health span, the years you're actually healthy, might just mean more years of being unwell. The goal isn't just to live longer. The goal is to live better for longer. And that's a harder problem to solve. So why can't humans live forever? The honest answer is because for almost all of evolutionary history, we didn't need to. Our bodies were optimized for survival long enough to pass on our genes, not for the comfort of the individual living inside them. But here's what's remarkable. We're the first species on this planet that's actively trying to rewrite that deal. We've mapped our own genome. We've edited genes with molecular scissors. We've found jellyfish that cheat death and figured out why. We're running experiments that would have sounded like pure fiction 50 years ago. The ceiling on human lifespan isn't written in stone. It's written in biology. And biology, unlike stone, can be changed. The 507-year-old clam didn't know it was going to live that long, but we, uniquely, might get to choose. The question isn't really, can we live forever? The question is, what will we do with the time?